the game franchise that took the characters you know and love and had them face off in deadly battles to the death. But don't worry, they are just toys. I think. Each iteration is a crossover fighting game, mixing in characters from Nintendo. Well, mostly Nintendo. Starting all the way back in 1999 on the Nintendo 64, its huge success in Japan led it to be launched worldwide, and for it to become one of Nintendo's most recognizable franchises. Having a new release on every home console, it picked up tons of fans along the way. And of course, those fans grew up on the series, all the while making many memes. And as before, since this will cover a fandom over multiple games, there might be things I had to leave out. Otherwise, this nutshell wouldn't really be a nutshell. Now honestly, there's not much out there in terms of fandom for this game. This was the early 2000s, and as such, there's nothing here for Smash 64. And anytime you try and find something, it's always from the newer games. But it at least was able to give fans the best trailer. So that's all that 64 ever gave us. Yes! Oh yeah, Mr. Falcon. A driver from F-Zero who got given 2 moves in 64.
Falcon Punch!
And
Falcon Kick!
And as such, both were memed to death back in the day, with any image or gif having that text overlaid on the top. And here it is, Melee, or the game that's for competitive players only now. When it first came out, fans everywhere praised it for how much it improved over the first game. I mean, even back then you had memes on Smash newcomers with edited, warning challenger approaching, screens. The game was also able to introduce characters for fans that never got much recognition elsewhere, like the Japanese-speaking Marth from the little-known series of Fire Emblem. And he became well known in the fandom for his grab range. Yeah, there are lots of examples based on his grab range. But of course, this leads into Melee's most well-known meme character, Fox. Being a top pick for the pros, his high tier status led to many memes using his shine, and as such, spawned another big Melee meme. That's right, if you want to challenge someone in a duel, you don't slap them with a glove like in the olden days. No, you throw everything out and go. No items, Fox only, final destination. All originating from some 4chan comics in 2007. Led this phrase to be used constantly in more comics, memes, and polite arguments on the internet, all starting from fascination with this game's competitive scene. Okay, no more Johns.
No Johns.
It's time to talk about the competitive Melee part of the fandom. So Smash Melee was able to improve so much over the original, but was also technical enough to cultivate a huge competitive scene, with magical abilities that casuals can't even comprehend, like wave dashing. The Smash competitive scene became a fan favorite even to the point where at current tournaments, it is still being played by hundreds of pros, even though there exist multiple newer versions of the game, and due to its, intense nature. If you say Melee is your favorite game, people will assume you love to wave dash to the moon and back. But regardless of that, I don't think this meme can ever get old. What came from commentators getting absolutely hyped during a match and determining that this was not Falco led to thousands of iterations of this meme. You have people referencing it on forums, text on old JPEG memes, and of course videos. Maybe this was a sign of how hyped some Smash fans could get. So now we jump to the Wii.
What's all this Wii stuff?
It brought in
so many casual Nintendo fans, it's kinda surprising that the Smash game was dark and gritty. Now Brawl's reveal and lead up to its release holds a special place in most fans' hearts purely for one reason, the dojo. Now, most over 20-year-olds will agree that the dojo was the greatest website for fans. This was a place that nearly every day would update with new information relating to Brawl. Fans would rush home from school just to see something new added.
Something new has
has been added.
What was this dojo? Was it official? Who actually ran it? For kids back then, it didn't matter. This was some mystical, powerful website that was detailing all the new features about Brawl. Now, the game itself was perfect for every part of the fandom. You had huge hype with its Latin opening song, which still to this day is considered the best opening for Smash. It added in so many new franchises to the roster, allowing for millions of fan fiction, comics, and memes with the interactions between characters. And you also had the addition of a story mode. Yes, the mode that fans didn't know they wanted and subsequently begged for it to be in every single future game. But it also split the rift between competitive and casual players with one feature. Well, we finally reached Smash on the 3DS and Wii U. The one that was released when the internet fandom started to boom. The reveal was so hype as people could finally play Smash on the go. But then they actually realized they had to buy a Wii U if they wanted it in HD. Now the game had plenty of CGI trailers, but none was more notable than a DLC tease, which popularized the whole genre of Smash YouTube videos. Yes, with YouTube booming during this time, and the tease for Mewtwo getting people really excited, meant tons of reaction videos to these trailers. I mean, Mewtwo was pretty hyped though, considering that most fans got baited by this blue frog. Well, since it is a modern game, it's gotta have internet features, which also means that for the first time, the game could actually be patched to change character strengths. And for whatever reason, every single patch of the game had a change for Greninja, thus starting the phrase, "Better nerf Greninja." Now, fans would cry out this phrase whenever something needed fixing. Oh, Ridley's too big for Smash? Better nerf Greninja. Speaking of which... Now this started in Brawl with the arguments on Ridley, and the fact that he was too big to be able to fight the others in Smash. But Bowser can change his size for Smash, so why not Ridley? These arguments kept on going with Smash Wii U, until Sakurai himself said in an interview he couldn't be in the game because he was just too big. Cue the many memes and fan art all crying out for everyone's favorite villain. He was just too big. But that wouldn't stop fans, because there was still the thing of the fighter ballot. Yes, for the first time, Smash would have DLC characters, and they opened it up to the public. Of course you had Ridley and so on, but you had others like Goku, Shrek, and whatever other meme character you could think of. And while we will never know what the final tally was, it was able to give hope to fans, because it completely allowed out of the blue characters like Cloud from Final Fantasy to be in Smash. Oh yeah, and Bayonetta as well.
Bayonetta!
Now the competitive scene for Smash Wii U was wild. As more players got into the game, and the patches changing the meta, it created many short-term memes before the character got nerfed. Like you had Hoo-Ha Diddy. But the absolute last patch of the game was notable because it left one character completely broken, and that was Bayonetta. Whether it was the absolute salt generated by this year's EVO finals between two Bayonettas, or she absolutely disrespecting characters right after Nintendo's E3 presentation, which you know Sakurai was watching. And that's all well and good, but Smash started to gather an interesting feature. As fan expectation rose and each reveal gathering more hype, the game started to leak quite a bit. So although this didn't really happen to a large extent with the older games, Smash Wii U broke the floodgates with all of its leaks. So many people would try to make a leak and get the fandom to believe them. Now while there was the Gematsu leak, which predicted a few characters, but then got some completely wrong through one massive Falcon punch, showing that Chrom wouldn't be playable in Smash Wii U. But the biggest leak of Smash Wii U was the ESRB leak. Now due to how absurd some of the characters were, this was mostly determined to be fake by the fandom. One YouTuber also noted how Shulk resembled a Photoshop Little Mac. Everything was now a Photoshop Little Mac. But then on the 3DS release date in Japan, the entire leak was shown to be true.
Yahoo! Yeah!
And I want to have this section for the hardest working man the video game scene has ever met. Mashed Potato Soccer Guy. Wait, that's not his name. And that isn't his image? Oh dear. Yes, with young Smash fans not knowing how to pronounce Japanese names, and Google somehow showing this image when you typed his name in, he became a legendary figure for the games. My Hero Samurai is one of the greatest video game developers to have ever existed, and why you should never ask him for anything again. And finally, the YouTube fans. Because oh boy, there sure are a lot of them. Firstly, you have the millions of comments shouting the smash attacks, or them writing tons of responses on who they want in the next game. Then you have the actual videos, with hundreds of animations, some from the Newgrounds heyday all the way to the present. Then you have the tons of analysis, character movesets, and all of the many tournament videos. You also have the mods of characters since people really wanted their favorites playable. And then of course, the memes. Oh my, so many memes. And that was all I could fit into this short video about the Super Smash Bros. Fandom. One that started in the early 2000s, before fandoms were even a thing, that grew more and more with each game, with it now being one of the biggest fandoms in the world. And with the games not being too difficult to get into, the fandom is probably one of the most accessible ones out there. I rate this fandom, out of 10. And as to the fandom's future, well, each Nintendo home console has one of these games, and I don't see that stopping. So as long as Nintendo makes hardware, there will always be something new for fans to latch onto. Wait a minute, you left out Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah. Well, I did write it down, but it seems that someone stole that entire segment.
Mr. Grinch.
Love. I'm going to